Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. From serving as Senator John McCain's Chief of Staff to advising on Ukraine's reconstruction and Gulf region expansion, Rick Stilgenbauer of Squire Patton Boggs has helped U.S. companies turn global complexity into strategic opportunity. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Thank you, Tim. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's a lot of big, cool stuff.
Sure.
Do you want to just give a little bit of background on yourself and how you got into the position you're in now?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. I grew up in southern Arizona. I moved to Tucson when I was in the second grade and graduated of the University of Arizona. And once I graduated from the U of A, I went to work for former Congressman Jim Colby in Tucson. And I didn't realize it at the time when I was going to work for him, but he, at that time, was the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee on Foreign Operations. So Jim, Congressman Colby or Cardinal Colby taught me a tremendous amount about international relations and opportunities overseas. So following my work, I worked for him in Tucson for a little while, and then I worked on the Hill for him for a little while, and tremendous opportunity. Then I went into more government work. I worked for the Millennium Challenge Corporation, did a bunch of international development work overseas. Once I had my fill of that, I came back to Arizona, and I was working for the University of Arizona as their lobbyist, for federal lobbyist down in Tucson.
Okay. How much of that foreign work was done here, or were you remote or out of the country for that?
Yes. So I was based in DC at that time. So I was out of the country quite a bit. Some of the countries that I would focus on: Benin, Ghana in Africa, Lesotho, as well as South Pacific Islands. My favorite is Vanuatu in the South Pacific. It's gorgeous. We did some really impressive work there. I'm very proud of that. But most of that work was when I was in DC, and then I'd go and be stationed in a foreign country for a little while to help with their economic, their planning, their rate of return, their interface with the United States government.
Huh. Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then you went back to Arizona?
Moved back to Arizona. I was with the University of Arizona's lobbyist for a number of years. I really enjoyed that job. That was sort of finding really impressive things that the U of A was doing on research and different programs, and then trying to get funding for those things. One of the things that I worked on was the OSIRIS-REx mission. That was the mission to an asteroid, to be able to sample that and bring that sample back to the United States, back to Arizona for research, and that was a tremendous experience. So did that for a little while, and then got a phone call from Senator McCain asking me to come and help him with his Arizona offices, and that was tremendous experience that I cannot speak highly enough. And it was the opportunity of a lifetime. So got to be Senator McCain's state chief of staff for a little while. Enjoyed that quite a bit until he got too sick to come back to work. Then I came to Squire Patton Boggs, and this is where I'm at now. It's an international law firm. I get to be based out of Phoenix and do work all over the world, and it's tremendous.
Excellent. So thank you for all that. Thank you for that service. That's all great stuff. And I got to meet McCain once. He's a national hero for sure.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I miss him quite a bit. We get to work with his wife and his son, Jim, pretty regularly, and they're both wonderful human beings as well. So thank you.
Awesome. Love hearing that. Okay. Thank you, Rick.
Of course.
You want to talk a little bit about the Ukrainian and the Gulf region work?
Sure. Absolutely. So here in Arizona, I spent a lot of my time working for Senator McCain, developing different regional hubs. One in Yuma, one in southern Arizona, one in Flagstaff, and then one in Mesa. They were focusing on defense contracting and how to support both our military installations in Arizona and defense contracting in Arizona. And that was one of the coolest things I got to do in my career, was to sort of to help drive policy from Arizona back to DC and internationally. So part of that work opened up opportunity when I came to Squire Patton Boggs to be able to go in to places like Ukraine and meet with President Zelensky and his team and talk to them about some of the things that they need. Okay. So been into Ukraine a number of times now. I think I'm at 7 or 8 different times that I've gone in with the Arizona Defense.
Over what time frame?
Since the war started. So this is the last 3 years. Okay. The work from the Arizona Defense Industry Coalition has led to, and that was was developed from these groups around the state of Arizona. That allowed me to go in and have conversations with the Ukrainian leadership about what's needed. Now, of course, a lot of that's defense related, but some of that is just business development. There's a big part of the problem in Ukraine right now is their economy is just in shambles. They're having a really difficult time.
Sure.
So
one might say that the war is not unrelated to the economy of the Ukraine.
I would agree. I would agree. That's a huge part of it. And if Putin has his way, and he's having his way, that he can stall that economy, then it's going to put Ukraine in an even worse position. So what we've been trying to do over the last several years is find economic development opportunities from Arizona to go into Ukraine to help support their effort to both grow business from Arizona companies, but also to assist what's happening in Ukraine. So those could be opportunities like infrastructure companies, that can be defense companies, that could be companies that are interested in opening up a new market and working with engineers and working with a country that is really determined to defeat Russia and emerge from this war as a leader, and been very impressed with what they've been able to do. So a lot of what I do, Tim, is I take companies that are interested in working in Ukraine, whether it's direct sales or opportunities in country, whether it's to open a joint venture or open a facility or manufacturing or any number of things, take them into country and meet with leadership of Ukraine, and along with the leadership of the Arizona Defense and Industry Coalition, and try to develop opportunities for economic growth. We've done that a few times with some of our clients here at Squire Patton Boggs. It's been very successful, and very proud of that work. So that has led to working directly in the Emirates with the United Arab Emirates. Some of our partners there, some of the leadership there has been fantastic. We've been finding opportunities to work to bring other opportunities from businesses from Arizona and to get them directly engaged in that market as well. So also led to conversations in Lithuania, other Baltic states about what can we do, what types of opportunities do we have in Arizona, what types of companies and expertise do we have here, and how may that work in their nations.
What was I missed the sort of the connection between the Arab Emirates and the Ukraine, and what was the connection?
So the Emiratis and the Ukrainians were having conversations about how the Ukrainians were able to grow their defense industrial base while they're at war. Because right now they're putting everything they possibly can towards defeating Russia, but they're growing industry. The defense, the drone technology, the counter UAV technology, the telecommunications or communications, battlefield communications, that technology is taken off in Ukraine, and they're doing it in places in bunkers and bomb shelters and barns, poorly lit areas, and the technology that they're creating and developing is fantastic. So what we do is we try to find opportunities for those companies that are coming out of Ukraine to be successful in the United States, or vice versa. Try to find opportunities for US-based companies to be successful in Ukraine. Those could be companies that may have an interest in reconstruction. The reconstruction needs in Ukraine are going to be multi-trillions of dollars in effort to reconstruct their country. And the Ukrainians, and particularly with the leadership of President Zelensky, have said, why would we rebuild back to pre-war standards? Because before the war, they were post-Soviet country, and they were struggling with things like coal-fired plants, and why wouldn't you leave
antiquated infrastructure?
Absolutely. So really what Ukraine is looking for is they're looking for opportunities to come into places like Arizona, develop long-term relationships for trade and for growth and for development. And later in December, probably late December, early January, I'm not sure exactly the time frame, the Ukrainian ambassador to the United States is planning on coming to Phoenix for a series of conversations, and she wants to meet with companies that are interested in going into Ukraine. So that could be mining companies, that could be energy companies, that could be water desal companies. There's a lot of opportunity there where it's an emerging country that wants to be as close to the EU and the United States as possible. And they want to create an environment where companies in the United States can be successful in Ukraine. But They can make money there, they can grow their economy, you can employ Ukrainians. That's what they desire. And so we're working our best, Tim, to sort of help that. So the Ukrainians and the Emiratis, some conversations there about working together on some solutions. And that was the connection point between Arizona Defense and Industry Coalition, some of the work we've done here in Arizona, and these different countries that want to work with our companies. So we've created a pipeline between Arizona and Ukraine, and Arizona and the UAE, and other markets as well. But those are sort of the top two, where we've got very good connections with leadership in those countries and can provide for interesting opportunities for growth for companies that are looking to expand into those markets. Right.
Okay. And I mean, one of the best ways you can support each other as countries is to do business with each other.
100%. So my law firm, Squire Patton Boggs, international law firm with offices all over the world, two in the UAE, and literally all over the place. I think we've got 44, if I'm not mistaken, at the moment, offices around the globe. We have expertise all over the place. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a policy person. So my job is to develop these opportunities and these relationships, and then to bring those opportunities back to specialists that may work in European law or in for example, with licensing, employment, or across the gambit. We want to be, and we are, a one-stop shop for companies that are interested in expansion. What does that mean? What does that mean for their tax base? What does that mean for joint venture development? What does that mean for trade? I'm very fortunate to work at a place like Squire that sees those opportunities and goes after those and puts effort behind them.
Sure. Okay. I can imagine all sorts of challenges, but what are some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome on those projects?
Sure. Well, in Ukraine, they have a significant problem with corruption and kleptocracy and sort of issues with that they're trying to tackle pretty regularly. Okay. What we've noticed is that some of the ministries in Ukraine want to move fast and get things done, get MOUs signed and agreements signed. But when it comes to rubber meeting the road, as far as certification and getting companies actively engaged in those countries, it takes quite a bit of effort to help push that along. So years ago, I used to work at the Millennium Challenge Corporation for the government, and we had indicators, sort of healthy economy indicators for different countries. It was an apples to apples comparison of is your country moving in the right direction. So one of those indicators was days to start a business, and I believe it was run by the World Bank. And in the United States, we were, I think it was 3 days was our level. It was really low. In some African nations, it was like 10 years. I'm not exaggerating, it was substantially higher.
Whoa.
So in places like Ukraine, they're struggling with being able to certify some companies and some industry to be able to move those things forward. So a lot of what we do is we find the opportunity, identify the right ministry, and then we do our best to work with that ministry to reduce the red tape as much as possible. Still meet the standards that are needed in the country, but sort of help move that along. And a lot of that has to do with Ukraine's concern regarding corruption because they want to track towards the United States, want to track towards Europe, but there's so much corruption concern that there's fear of signing off on a document. There's fear of signing off on a legitimate business because they don't want to be seen as being corrupt, for fear that there'll be retribution if a company or if a situation is wrong. So a lot of what we do in country is partner with other law firms, partner with other organizations to make sure the due diligence that is done translates both in language and in need to the Ukrainians. So very long story there, but that's a lot of what we're doing. And then additionally, some of the challenges just getting in and out of the countries that can sometimes be challenging because you spend quite a bit of time in bomb shelters there, Tim. You spend quite a bit of time in just trying to conduct business in a country that's at war is really difficult sometimes. So we try to reduce that as much as possible to companies that want to go in and start working there. There's one of the common themes in Ukraine, Tim, is that there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of companies that want to work in Ukraine. They want to get in on the reconstruction. They see what Ukraine's doing. They're inspired by it, but they want to start that work the day after the war ends. Well, Putin and Russia understand that. And the longer they can drag this out, the more successful the effort in disrupting Ukrainian way of life and their economic development is. So what we do is we attempt to get companies actively engaged immediately in that market. And that means, trying to find solutions that are, maybe if a company has 30 different options, 30 different widgets of things that they make, maybe it's producing one, maybe it's producing two, sort of slowly weighting them into the market to allow them to be successful and to be operational there. So very long answer to what some of the challenges, but that's
there's a lot of details though. That's a very complicated situation. I think you did a very good job.
Thank you, sir.
Explaining that. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's challenges galore, no doubt, trying to do business, not to mention grow and bring more in.
Sure.
What are the opportunities, the particularly sexy parts of right now? I mean, maybe there are advantages for, like you were saying, defense companies and stuff, or construction companies for being an active war zone. Is that something that's a perk for some industries?
Sadly, yeah. It's a great question. I mean, sadly, I wish they weren't at war, but they are. And Ukraine is taking advantage of that by having some technology, some defense technology that's directly integrated into the war, into the battlefield. So as developing tech or defense tech, anywhere else in the world, usually goes through a very close rigorous set of standards and sort of testing. Usually that's run through different proving grounds around the world of the different militaries or different countries that are producing that technology. In Ukraine, we're seeing a lot of opportunities for companies to be able to test their equipment directly on a battlefield. And that could be drone technology, that could be communications technology, that could be healthcare solutions as well. And the Ukrainians are definitely looking for opportunities to integrate some of those solutions directly on their battlefield. Now, the challenge there is that when you start to do that, there's concern regarding IP loss and potential, interception of different things by the hostile forces. But there's definitely an opportunity there. In certain, focusing on reconstruction, there are opportunities for companies that have technology, particularly in the construction area, to be able to start to integrate that tech or those opportunities in country immediately. If you were for example, a 3D home builder and you're interested in printing homes, so can't think of a better place on the planet to be doing that right now because the workforce is literally on the battlefield. So if you can reduce the workforce substantially and print homes in Ukraine immediately, it start to put down a bigger footprint in that country, then you'll have a much better opportunity to work in that country when the war ends and there's reconstruction opportunities available.
Okay, that's a good point. Can you speak a little bit to the roles Arizona companies are playing and sort of your goals right now?
Sure. I can sort of speak from the esoterics or the without mentioning direct names, but we do have one company that is doing printing or had been doing printing there. Some of the companies in Arizona that we're talking to, there's certainly companies that are doing armor. There's certain companies that are doing defense protection. There's companies that are doing telecommunications there right now in country. There's a number of different companies that have different technology that they're testing in Ukraine. A lot of that is cyber focused as well. So there's the needs of Ukraine are very high, and there's a tremendous level of interest in working with the United States. So earlier this year, there was negotiations taking place at the White House focusing on mineral rights in Ukraine. So there's very high-grade lithium opportunities there, as well as other materials that mining companies are likely interested in mining and in producing in country. There's quite a bit of oil reserves, but there's also agricultural opportunities. Ukraine has been the breadbasket for the world for a long time, for hundreds of years. And some of those challenges that the Ukrainians have while being at war are the inability to grow certain things or the inability to have people in the field working in different technology. So we work very closely with the Arizona Farm Bureau and the Ukrainian leadership. Phil Bashaw, who runs the Arizona Farm Bureau, has done a fantastic job of developing and cultivating relationships with Ukrainians to try to find opportunities for agricultural technology to be integrated into fields in Ukraine to be able to produce additional opportunities there. Additionally, Phil Bashaw and the Arizona Farm Bureau, which I cannot say enough about Phil, tremendous friend, tremendous leader, is always open to talking to the Ukrainians about what they're seeing right now. One of the issues that they have, a substantial issue that they have in Ukraine, are landmines that have been placed all over the country. One of the estimates that I heard last year was that it would take, I think it was 200 years to be able to demine Ukraine using existing technology. So you can see that that's going to have, and the war is not close to coming to an end, that problem is going to persist for generations. So technology being developed at places like Caterpillar or John Deere are going to be very important for a country like Ukraine in its reconstruction effort. And we have wonderful testing centers here in Arizona that either are or could be participating in that, as well as the university system as well. I cannot say enough about what higher education is doing for research and development in Ukraine. In fact, ASU has a campus in Kyiv, and new regent to the Arizona Board of Regents, Jim McCain, has taken some interest in finding some opportunities in Ukraine as well for researchers as well. So there's a lot that's being done behind the scenes, Tim, and Arizona has really stepped up to the plate when it comes to the work that is being done in Ukraine. And last point, the Arizona Defense and Industry Coalition CEO Lindy Smith is on the board of directors for the Ukraine Defense Industry, which is a government public-private partnership out of Ukraine that is identifying opportunities in Ukraine to be able to come to the United States. So there's, I would say, Arizona punches well above its weight class when it comes to working with Ukraine and finding opportunities there. And that's one of the main reasons why the ambassador of Ukraine to the United States is planning on coming in, having some of those conversations. Yes, there's a large defense component, of course, but it goes well beyond that into helping Ukraine become an emerging EU country.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot of great stuff, and it's neat, nice to hear of all the local activity and support.
I'm incredibly proud of my state, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Awesome, Rick. So I appreciate all the great stuff you're doing, and that's it's got to be hard to balance that, right? I mean, running the law firm and doing that sort of work while also
Sure.
trying to it's just so big and intense for and try to just think about your own life and plan your own future and stuff.
Sure.
Shifting gears as we wrap up the interview, um,
Yeah.
has anything happened in the past 12 months that's changed your life?
Yeah, we've had some challenges, but some issues, some health care issues at home have been a significant issue, and my daughter's 16 and 11, 16 and sorry, 12-year-old and 16-year-old. Um, they and my wife been incredibly patient with their dad and having to go into places and spend a lot of time in bomb shelters.
I
And
bet.
um, Past several months, I've not been traveling internationally, which has been very nice for me. I don't know about for them, but um, it's been yeah, there's certainly an opportunity there for me to spend more time with my family, which has been absolutely wonderful. But the um, some of the things I've seen over the last 12 months, particularly the tariffs the tariff implementation globally has had some challenges for some of our company's clients, and particularly ones that are importing into the United States from other
Sure.
places around the world. So what I've noticed, Tim, is that we're I'm very proud of law firm, and they're always looking for opportunities for those companies to begin to import from other areas of the world and sort of source different products and opportunities from other places.
Mhm.
So that's something that my law firm spends quite a bit of time and has a lot of expertise on identifying those markets and getting in front of trade issues as quickly as possible. So that's taken up a lot of the last year as well. Is sort of assisting to find ways to work within the emerging or the changing structure in Washington.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. It's again big, deep stuff, and
Sure.
yeah, balancing that with a home life and a family, and traveling
Yeah.
to dangerous areas and stuff's got to be extra stressful. And
Yeah.
so again,
But they all want to go to Dubai. They all want to go to Abu Dhabi. They all want to experience that. So it's nice to be able to have a place like the Emirates to be able to travel to be able to conduct business as well. Not that
right,
there's anything wrong with Ukraine. I love it. It's worth investing in. It's a wonderful country, and
right,
I'm very proud of them. But to be able to stay at a nice hotel in the UAE and to be able to conduct business there is very nice as well.
right. I have a friend who's there right now, posting pictures, and he's working remotely from there for the past couple of weeks, and it looks pretty
It's
nice.
gorgeous. It's gorgeous, yeah, and it's also really friendly. It's a wonderful environment that there are not a lot of Americans walking around there, and it's really a shame because it's safe, it's beautiful, and the opportunities there are immense for companies that are looking to enter the sort of the MENA, the North Africa, Middle Eastern markets. Really tremendous opportunities there.
Okay, excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any exciting plans or initiatives for 2026?
Uh, Great question, Tim. So right now we're having some conversations with the UAE, looking to find opportunities for development, develop some of the resort properties in that area of the world. And I'm hoping that 2026 brings an end to the war in Ukraine, and we can begin to focus on reconstruction and so forth. I don't feel like it's close, but I my former boss John McCain would say it's always darkest before it's completely black. But I've been impressed with their ability to hang in the fight and be able to push back and be able to maintain sort of their way of life. So I'm hopeful that we're going to get to a point of ending the war and can focus on reconstruction. And when that time is ready, there's a lot of opportunity there to help rebuild that country. So I'm hopeful that next year will be a lot more work in the UAE, a lot more Arizona-based companies working in the UAE, and conversely, the same in Ukraine.
Okay, okay. Now, Rick, working in this space,
Yeah.
is there anything you wish you would have known sooner about being successful this field?
No, I've been really fortunate in my career, Tim, to surround myself with really good people, and I wish I would have focused more on that earlier on in my career. Working on the Hill, working in DC, working internationally, working in Arizona. Once again, been very blessed. But I wish I would have put more time and effort into sort of growing the network of really great people. I also wish I was a little bit better at keeping up with some of the ones that are all over the world as well. But there's only so much time throughout the day. But realistically, what I would, if I could go back, I would be very focused on, spending more time cultivating that core group of people that you work with, that share your same core values, that see vision. And I've been blessed in my career. I have good friends that I've been able to work with, but they're worth a lot as far as your sanity and your ability to get things done. And that's the people that you get to work with are the most important thing.
Right. Investing in relationships.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good stuff, Rick. Thank you. So
Thank you.
if people would like to learn more about you and your firm, where can they go? What should they do?
Sure. So our website is Squire Patton Boggs. It's squirepb.com. That's my law firm's website. I also an active board member on a number of different platforms across the state. I'm the vice chair of the Yuma 50, which is a tremendous organization. The Arizona Defense Industry Coalition, as well as the Southern Arizona Defense Alliance. I'm also in the Black Chamber, do quite a bit of work with them as well. And I think LinkedIn is probably where I spend most of my time, Tim, putting most of the different things I'm working on, most of my different initiatives. But if there's anything that struck a chord with any of your listeners as far as working overseas, trying to find opportunity, maybe not in the markets that I've described, but I'm very proud of my firm and our ability to open up new markets and new opportunities and bring a little bit of creativity to an area where I'm not sure how many other large law firms are looking for the types of opportunities that we're opening up for Arizona-based companies.
Right. Okay, great stuff. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Thank you very much, Rick Stilgenbauer, for joining me today. Very much appreciate it. And appreciate you sharing your story and your insights into bringing Arizona business and to the world, really.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.